Hello. It is Dolly. Welcome to my channel. This process video is for Scrappy Life with Miranda Weber for her January monthly weekend virtual crop that she held Friday, January 27th, Saturday, January 28th, and Sunday, January 29th. I am the guest designer for Saturday, January 28th, just in case you're watching this on the replay. And I will have all the links that Miranda Weber has provided me if you would like to go check out all the challenges and Miranda's Facebook site and Instagram and etc. will all be listed below in the description box. So be sure to go to the description box. Now back to my challenge. That was for Saturday, January 28th at 11:30. This is the Pinterest photo that I selected as the inspiration piece for the virtual weekend crop. And she had a theme for winter. And this pin will be posted, I'm sure, over at Scrappy Life, probably in one of the albums. If you can't find it, just leave a comment below and I will get back with you. You can use the Pinterest photo that I selected, or you could go find your own. Again, because it's a winter theme weekend virtual crop, I thought this photo was perfect. I love it because you have that punch of white and black and red. So it gives you different directions to that you can explore. That's the word I'm looking for. And for my challenge, I also want to add, let's use our cardstock. And maybe you already do, and you're not like me, that 85 to 90% of all my layouts are pattern paper. Yes, I love pattern paper. And I use cardstock as well, but my foundation layer or my base, 85% of the time is going to start with pattern paper, but not for this challenge. So again, you see my Pinterest photo. Now let's look at the supplies that I am going to use. And if you would like to scrap lift me, then get out a pencil and paper and write down the items that I am going to use. So the first thing is, of course, my paper. So I have my daisy white cardstock from Close to My Heart and my black cardstock from Close to My Heart. The first base layer is going to be the black cardstock, which is a full 12 by 12. And then the daisy white cardstock, I cut 1/4 inch on two sides, which will allow the black cardstock to peek behind my white cardstock about 1/8 inch for all four sides. And then, of course, we want to secure that to the black cardstock, right? But before I start creating this, again, I said I would give you a list of all my supplies. The next thing I am going to use is the white daisy exclusive ink from Close to My Heart and the pewter exclusive ink from Close to My Heart. I'm going to use this huge block from Close to My Heart, the stamping block, and this is 5 by 6. You're going to need some packaging paper, and you can also use Ziploc bags. Also, I am going to use my shimmer brush in clear from Close to My Heart. I'm going to set this stuff to the side. You're also going to need water, and it can be in a bowl, you know, water in a bowl, or you can have a spray bottle. And I have my spray bottle here. We're going to need that. Then I am going to use 2 photographs, and they are identical, but one is closer than the other, just the way I printed it. And so I have 2 photographs that I'm going to use. Oh, and for stamps, I am using this stamp set that's called Christmas Snowflake Medallias. And I don't know if it's still available. It may not be, because it is a stamp of the month from Close to My Heart. But you could use any type of snowflake stamp that you have in your stash. If you don't have a snowflake stash, then you can come up with something else to use. But you want it to be a nice size stamp. And we're going to stamp just off the edge in 3 different locations on the Daisy White cardstock. This is going to be a real clean, simple layout as well. And for my title, I have these puffy stickers from Vicki Boutin called Warm Wishes. And again, you can use any type of puffy stickers or just plain stickers. You can handwrite if you would like, which would be awesome. And I have this older acrylic piece in my Scrappy stash that's called Magic. And this is a few years old, and it came in when I had a subscription to scrapbooking cards, and today they give you a little sampling of some of the new products, and they used to always include a little acrylic piece. I never had used this, but you could easily write this out on your layout if you would like. Then these acrylic pieces are available through Close to My Heart. And these are the black acrylic piece. And this is an arrow, and then these are little snowflakes. And I'm going to use those. And in my Scrappy stash of black items, I had found this chipboard tree, and it is most likely from either crepe paper or Simple Stories. I know it's not Maggie Holmes, but those are the 3 that I normally get chipboard pieces from. So that is the, oh, and I forgot one other thing, I'm sorry. And I also have this 3x4 card. Again, this came from a subscription. If I said prescription earlier, I'm sorry, but at least I gave you a good laugh. It is a subscription. And of course, it says on this day, January. And again, this card is very, very old, because before I had this subscription to scrapbook cards, and today I had with Allie Edwards, right? Is that her name? Allie Edwards? Yep. And I should know her name because she's from my state that I'm from, which is Oregon. Anyway, just a sidebar, like you really need to know. All right, now let's start creating. You have 2 options here. You could go ahead and secure your white cardstock, whatever form that you're using. I would say that you want a pretty decent weight, because we're going to do the kissing or smushing technique. And you could secure it now, or you could wait till after you do the kissing and stamping, which is what I am going to do. So I'm going to pull my black cardstock to the side. And the first thing I shall do is my stamping. So I'm going to take my stamp here, and my large block. And I am going to place this larger medallion snowflake. And you want to easily, if you watch, never just yank your clear stamps however you store them, because they could rip. And I'm going to place that right here in the middle. And if you would like, you could get out your mat or something that will wipe up easily on your inking, because we're going to ink off the edges. And I want to make sure I stay in frame. So I'm going to put this over my nice Versamat from Close to My Heart. Look, I even have it upside down, but it doesn't matter. The numbers, you can read them. Okay. And you can somewhat see through it, so I know not to, I'll stamp off the edge, but I'm going to move my paper over because I'm going to stamp off the edge. So I forgot to mention that in the beginning of supplies, and I'll probably do that throughout this whole video process, because that's just the way my brain thinks. It's all over the place. All right. Now, if you get a little bit on your block and you want to make sure that it doesn't, get on your white paper, you can wipe that off. So we're going to start over to the left side. And I am going to place and there's no wrong or right way to do it, though I think I want to make sure I add some more ink. I want to make sure this is really inked up. There we go. I couldn't see much. I was tapping too light. And we are going to place it right here. And we're going to press down. And don't move it around. Just go straight down and press. And then I always say count to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, to let that ink sit there for a little bit and soak into your paper. And voila. See how perfect? I'm going to get out. I need to wipe off my ink. So here's my, so we'll rub that off right there. Got that ink off, and this is a dry paper towel. You don't ever want to put dry paper towels or paper towels on your stamps. Do not do that. Use some form of chamois, like this chamois that Close to My Heart sells. All right, now we're going to push this over here to the left and down, and we're going to ink up again. And if it makes you nervous to ink on top of your daisy white cardstock, then just do it right on top of your mat. It doesn't bother me. I'm not that meticulous if I mess up, because I like to use splatters and dots, and of course we can cover up mistakes most of the time. If you can't with a splatter and dots, then you can cover up with some form of embellishment or stamping. There's always a way, trust me. And let's see, I didn't scoot this down far enough, because I'm going to stamp now up over here in this corner. And again, there's no, you can turn it, twist it, have a little bit peeking, more peeking, and I think we're going to go like that. And yep, let's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, like we're exercising, right? Or you can go 101, 102, 103. You can count slow. So got rid of that water. All right. And then the last one is going to go over here in this corner. And we're going to ink it up again using the pewter ink. Here. And I think we're going to go out a little bit more. So press down one more time and up. Yay! Now I'm going to use my close to my heart chamois and clean off my stamp. And I'm going to clean this off and put it away. Or you could leave it out. You know what? I'll leave it out because we're going to do the kissing technique and it's not necessary to leave it out, but you can. And I'm going to place my stamp back on my pad. And let's do our smooshing technique. Or I'll do check-ins. I can do, you know, a little bit and then say, oh, I'm checking back in. Now, we don't need a whole lot of water. Yes, we're doing white on white. No, we're not. We're going to add a little bit of pewter. I'm going to add a little bit. I'm going to change it up. I wasn't going to do this. So we're going to add a little bit. And we're going to, just to give it a little bit of a gray touch. And see, just a couple squirts. We don't want to overwater. We're not trying to oversaturate. We're going to kind of create, you know, when the storm is coming in for snow, it kind of has that hazy gray look, and that's what we're going to go for. All right, so now we're going to just smush. So, and I start lightly getting the paints off, and I know this is going to be hard to see, but it is there. You could add a little bit more gray if you would like. And see, I need to do a little bit more, so maybe we'll layer on top with a little bit more gray. And I don't want to transfer that white onto my gray. And we're going to add some white, just a little bit more. And we add a squirt of water in case I was off camera again. And so we got a little bit more gray coming in now. Yeah. We can go a little bit over our stamped images to blend that in with our background. All right, now you can see it a little bit, right? And it give that, you know, here comes the winter snow. All right, we're going to get out the shimmer brush and we are going to do our splatters. And we're going to just shake this. It should have enough ink coming out. Well, nope, maybe I need to prime it. So let me prime it. Let me get my little 1 inch by 1 inch block out from close to my heart. And just push. And it even tells you where to push on your shimmer brush. Just push till you can get a little bit out. And trust me, sometimes I push a little bit too hard and I get a whole glob out. It does not take much. Can you see that right there? That's all I need. And then because I've primed that shimmer to come into the tip of the brush, now I can go like this and I can get bigger blobs, which is what I want to do at first. And no, I don't know exactly where my photos are going to go, so some of it's going to get covered up. You're right. Don't worry about that. Just play, okay? Just play. Don't be afraid. There we go. Now we'll come in with little splatters. And to create that effect, you just hit your brush. There we go. I think that's good. All right. Now I'm going to pause just for a second here. Let this dry. Clean my little mess up. I know if we were live, I couldn't do that. Maybe I should just keep on going here. This down. And something I'm going to do different that I don't do very often is I normally mat all my photographs, but I think this time I am just going to place my photographs right on my background. Now it looks like this is almost dry, so I think I can go ahead and bring in my black cardstock, which is going to be kind of hard to see. So you know what I'm going to do? It's even going to be hard for me to see. I'm going to take my mat away. So I'm not going to eyeball it here. I think that looks good. All right. And as you can tell, my paper is not warped. We didn't put that much water on the daisy white cardstock, and it can take some mixed media. So if you have not used daisy white cardstock for mixed media, you can. Now, if you're going to do watercoloring, no, it's not going to work. It'll, let me take that back. It'll work, but it's going to be warped. And if you don't like it warped, then I suggest that you use watercolor paper or mixed media paper. And yes, I do use that in my Scrappy stash. I'm not just exclusive, even though I am a close to my heart maker consultant, I do use other Scrappy supplies. All right, that looks perfect. Love it. But see, it's not warped because we only used, I know I squirted a couple times, but that's because barely any came out the first time. You just needed to wet it just a little bit, especially with close to my heart inks, because they are juicy already. All right. Now here, if you wanted to make sure that your photo is straight, you can get out your T-ruler. This is the newest T-ruler from Close to My Heart. I'll get it out. I normally don't. I rarely use my T-ruler to be perfect. I do use it, but it's generally not to be perfect. It's just to get a general idea. All right, the photographs are of, I always call him my little guy. He's now a freshman in high school. And this was last January 16th. And I did a layout. That is our miniature dash hound named Penny. And she, in this photograph, let's see, she is only 7 months old, and she loved the snow. Okay. So does my other. I forgot that I had my card here for a little bit of journaling, so I'm going to use an older Cricut spatula. Keep it around just for this. I do have a Cricut, but I have newer tools, and I think I'm going to line this up. I don't know if I want to make it the same height as my photo. Maybe. And see, I'm keeping it clean because I could ink the edges, but I don't think I want to. And I think I want to have this arrow right up here like that. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I like the little bit of stacking. Not too much, but just enough. So it keeps your eye moving, gives an impression of movement, but not off balance. All right, so let me put that there. Oh, I like that. Okay. Now, I like the arrow, so we're going to commit. And you could use wet adhesive glue, or you could use glossy accent. Yeah, it's just called Glossy Accent. And Close to My Heart sells something very similar, and I haven't purchased it because I have this bottle and I need to use it up because it can dry on you. But it'll take a few years, depending on what climate you're in. When I lived in Florida, I'd hear people talk about their paints and everything drying up, their acrylics. In Florida, it didn't matter. They could be 5 years old and they were still good because of the moisture content in the air. So they were good. All right, I like that. Now let's bring in my tree. Don't necessarily have to, I can write the date in my description, so I can cover that up. And that way your eye is not looking at that word date. And I'm going to bring in my title like that. I think that's how. Yep. I'm committing, guys. And you can do the same thing with the chipboard. You could use the glossy accent, or you can use the wet adhesive. I do not suggest using the tape. Well, if you can get your tape to work. For my ATG gun, the tape that goes in that does not work. I don't know the trick. So if you know the trick, let me know. So when it comes to chipboard, I'm always putting it down with, oops, it slid, because I don't want that name to show. There we go. Right. Now let's add some snowflakes. So let's add black snowflakes. Yep. And again, Miranda actually is the person that taught me, believe it or not, even though I didn't know Miranda when I first started scrapbooking, but she taught me it's okay that to think outside the box, because you don't have to use your embellishments what you think they're for. Because like what I mean by that is, so you don't have to use flower embellishments to document flowers or document springtime. You don't have to only use white, something for snowflakes in white, because that's what snow is, white. You can use other elements, and that's what I'm doing right here. Thank you, Miranda. I don't know if I've ever told you that, but yep. And some people are great about that because they can use that other side of that brain and always think outside the box easily, where some of us struggle with that. So if you struggle with that, you're not alone. But like I said, over the years, it's gotten easy for me. Like how that turned out right there. Now I don't want those snowflakes to move at all, so we are going to adhere those down right now, and I'm going to go ahead and use the glossy accent. So as you can tell, acrylic pieces, I like to use the glossy accents. Chipboard pieces, I like to use the wet adhesive glue. And for photos, die cuts, journaling cards, papers, I use my ATG gun. Now, do you have to have all three? No, you don't. So if you don't have all three, I have used wet adhesive glue for acrylic pieces, and it works just fine. Now let me make sure I got the magic how I want it. So I like how this magic is like drawing your eye back up to the photograph. And I'll have a place to journal here. And if I have more to say, I can journal down here, because I don't intend to put anything down here other than, oh, you know what? I need to use my puffy stickers. A few of them, right? I got them out, so I need to use them. So let's see, what are we going to come up with? Let me look at them before I secure down the word magic. But see how easy this layout is, and we did stamping, mixed media, we used our shimmer brush. So you can do it. If you're scared, you watch people create layouts, and maybe they haven't gone as slow or done a simple one like this. So we're going to say sweet magic, and we want that punch of color, and that's my dog's barking, and I'm sorry. We're going to put, so even though my inspiration did not have green in it, remember we talked about a punch of color, and that's the idea. This is where you think outside the box. All right. For your layout, even though I went black and white, I'm not going red, but I'm going to use a punch of green. And guess what? It ties in to my little guy wearing my husband's work jacket. I just noticed that, and that's the reflectors that he has to have on there. Let's see. We're going to say sweet magic time of the year. Sweet magic time of the year. I know that may not make sense to everyone. I think, yep, I'm going to glue this down, and then I might even use some of these little green dots in here. All right, so we're going to put the sweet right where it's at. So maybe I need to glue down the magic first, right? Yeah, let's glue that down. All right, we have the word magic secured. I have the little puffy stickers to be part of this title. So my title would be Sweet Magic Time of the Year. And remember I said, well, they've got some of this green. So that's my punch of color is the green. And we have green here. So if we wanted that visual triangle, I really need to add some green here because we can use our photographs as part of that visual triangle as long as you can see that color, which we can see the green color here and the green in here. So let me see here. We have these white. These puffy stickers lined with white with green, which work great on a white background, and that's something I don't work often with, as I stated in the beginning of the video. Should we put down here? Does that look good? I think that does. So we have that visual coming this way. We're going to leave it. We're going to let that be. All right. I love how this looks right now, but I want to add a little bit more sparkle right here. I want some bigger splotches right here. So I'm going to get out my shimmer brush again, shake it up, and it still should be moist, and I'm hoping that I can get some. So let me squeeze some juice into that tip of that brush. And, you know, if your shimmer dries on your little block, whoops, see, you saved it. I've got a lot there. I've got extra blocks that I can use, and this will dry, but if you touch it, don't add water to it. Just use your shimmer brush that color matches to, and as long as it's moist, it will come back to life. Okay? It'll come back to life, promise. All right, so now I got some of that on the tip. There, I like that. See, that gives me a little bit more in there. I could add a little one right there. Now, see, my brush touched right there, and I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. Yeah, so I got one dot right there, which is perfect. Yeah, I like that. I need one right there. Yep, I just felt like it was missing. So now, without ruining my other one, I can take my finger while it's wet and just smear it out. See? One more final thing. Let's say you really want to scrap lift this and you're like, I don't have a card like this. You can make your own. Get your Daisy White cardstock out, or any cardstock based on the background that you're using. and create your own and get out your stamps. You get out your stamp and stamp out January and these lines. I could easily have done that with stamps that I have in my stash from close to my heart, and created my own 3x4 card. All right, we'll see you next time. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate you all. And like I always say at the end of all my videos, most of all, get out your Scrappy supplies, get out your photographs, and document those memories in a fun, creative way, and tell your story. And at minimum, at least put who, what, where, and when. And if you don't like to see it on the front of your layout, put it on the back of the layout. All right, we'll see you next time. Bye.